All right, guys. So this story came out the other day, and I have to say, this is a giant deal, man. This is a giant deal. Judge Cannon, who was appointed by Trump, by the way, she was overseeing the illegal classified documents case against Trump that was being brought by Jack Smith. And so to this point, the Trump attorneys have been sort of gumming up the works and slowing down the process and pushing back the date of the case more and more and more. And the delay tactics are simply to give Trump a chance to get in office so that when he's in office, then you can no longer prosecute this case because once the president is in there, all you can do is impeach. You can't convict unless they're out of office, right? And maybe even not then, according to the Supreme Court with their whole immunity idea, but we don't need to get into that right now. But either way, Judge Aileen Cannon, she decides the other day, by the way, 2 days after the assassination attempt on Trump, 2 days. So in other words, she decided something in that moment to try to bury the story. So nobody's going to talk about it. Nobody's going to think about it. It's out of sight. It's out of mind. It's the equivalent of what reporters do sometimes on like a Friday evening. They'll put a story then when people aren't really paying attention, so it doesn't get legs nearly as much. That's what she was trying to do here. And what did she decide 2 days after the assassination attempt on Trump? I'm dismissing the case completely, the classified documents case against Trump completely. Guys, I don't know if you know this. That classified documents case was ironclad. Homie had top of the line, top secret classified documents that are the most top secret, the ones that can only be kept in a SCIF. He had those, and they were sitting out in his bathroom at Mar-a-Lago. And some of the stuff is so insane that it's not even like, you know how they overclassify stuff and maybe they make things secret that shouldn't be just because they're trying to protect their ass and not embarrass themselves. He had stuff that didn't fall in that category at all. He had like nuclear secrets in there. There was the story of him like casually talking to some Australian billionaire at Mar-a-Lago and telling him top secret classified stuff. And then the guy eventually went to the media and said, he was telling me top secret classified stuff. That's just one example. But he had so many documents. Then the FBI tried to get him back and he stonewalled them and then he gave them some, but not all of them. And every single step of the way was crime after crime after crime after crime. And again, I want to be clear, this is stuff that should be classified and should be top secret. There's some really, really fucking sensitive documents there. And so this was, in terms of getting a conviction, this one was the biggest slam dunk case. So again, what happened? Judge Cannon dismissed it. Why did she dismiss it? You ready for this? She goes, hey, Merrick Garland appointed Jack Smith a special prosecutor, special investigator, special prosecutor. And I'm going to unilaterally decree that all special prosecutors are actually unconstitutional. So the attorney general can't do any special prosecutors, and that's why we're throwing this out. We're nipping this in the bud and saying the special prosecutor is unconstitutional. You can't even have one of those. Not allowed. To which every legal expert was like, excuse you? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. So look at this. This is in The Atlantic. Judge Cannon has gotten it completely wrong. By the way, she knows she's wrong. She's doing this on purpose. In dismissing the classified documents case, she is ignoring both practical history and legal precedent. Judge Aileen Cannon, a Donald Trump appointee, by the way, she should have recused herself immediately. She should have. If she had a single moral bone in her body, has dismissed the criminal charges against former President Trump on the merits. Her opinion is a poor one, ignoring history and precedent. It will almost certainly be reversed on appeal. Okay. So by the way, why would she do it if it's immediately going to be reversed on appeal? The whole reason she did it is to delay more, to make it so that there's no way we're going to get a conclusion to this case before the next election. That's why she did it. All she had to do was punt until after the election. That's all she had to do. And she did that. Now, why did she do it? Look, my speculation is she wants to be picked for the Supreme Court. And doing this definitely gets her in Trump's good graces. And so if Trump gets elected again, she's going to come knocking on the door. Hey, dog, hook me up. I hooked you up. You better hook me up. I want that Supreme Court seat. I think that's why she's doing it. And is this disgusting and brazen and out in the open? It's pathetic. Even so, her actions will surely delay Trump's trial and may even prevent it completely should Trump return to power and dismiss the case before a verdict is reached. For these reasons alone, her decision is certainly notable. Okay, to the idea that Trump could pardon himself, that's insane. That's yet another way in which we would grant ourselves a king or an emperor. This is not a president. This is not a country that abides by the rule of law in a scenario where the person who's the number one in charge says, I am the law. I am above the law. What I do, it doesn't count. I get away with everything. That's insane. That now we're casually talking about, if he gets in there, he can just pardon himself. But Cannon's opinion is even more significant for what it says systematically about the American judiciary and its increasing hubris. Donald Trump is famous for saying that he alone can fix the nation. Judges now routinely say that they alone know what the law is or should be. Cannon is just the latest, perhaps the most egregious example. The legal issue in question was the validity of special counsel Jack Smith's appointment by the Attorney General. Cannon determined that the appointment was invalid. In her view, no statutory authority existed for the Attorney General to create such an officer. According to her, Smith was an inferior officer whose appointment could be approved only if there was a specific statutory authority. Absent that, as she characterized it, the appointment was unconstitutional. One could write a volume about how wrong Cannon's analysis is, and no doubt many will do so, including on Smith's inevitable appeal to the 11th Circuit. So in other words, the upper court is definitely going to overturn this. On the statutory merits, for example, the law allows the Attorney General to appoint officials. Guys, listen to how clear this language is. The law allows the Attorney General to appoint officials to detect and prosecute crimes against the United States and to conduct such other investigations regarding official matters under the control of the Department of Justice and the Department of State as may be directed by the Attorney General. Look at that. I mean, it could not be more clear. It could not be more clear. This clear language is discarded by Cannon on the borderline frivolous ground that Smith is sometimes called an officer of the Justice Department rather than an official. Oh my God, she's literally playing semantic games. Worst yet, in her hubris, Cannon disregards both history and precedent. As to history, the first special counsel ever was appointed during the Grant administration to investigate the whiskey ring scandal. Since then, literally dozens of special counsels have been designated by the attorneys general, including those investigating Watergate, and most recently by Trump's own Department of Justice, which appointed Robert Mueller during Trump's term in office. It takes quite a bit of self-regard to ignore more than 150 years of practical history. As to precedent, during the investigation of Richard Nixon, the Supreme Court explicitly acknowledged the power of the Attorney General. Quote, this is the Supreme Court, ready? Under this authority, Congress has vested in the Attorney General the power to conduct the criminal litigation of the United States government. It has also vested in him the power to appoint subordinate officers to assist him in the discharge of his duties. She says, Jack Smith is not an officer. Why? Well, I say so. Cannon casually tosses that off as dicta, statements of the court not necessary to the court's decision. She's wrong. The special prosecutor's authority to subpoena Nixon was at issue, and the authority was dependent on prosecutor's very existence. But even if she were correct, it takes significant hubris to disregard the Supreme Court when you are a lower court judge. Anyway, so you get the gist of it here. She's just doing this to protect his ass, to gain favor with him, so that she could be picked for the Supreme Court, and she knows that she's now delaying the trial till after the election. And so the most slam dunk case now is done before the election. So we have the civil cases where he was found liable, and we have the one criminal conviction in New York for the hush money payment and the fraud around that. But now the most slam dunk case, gone. By the way, she goes, you're going to love this. She goes on to say, the special prosecutor that was put into place to go after Hunter Biden, he's allowed. He's okay. Wait, but your argument was just that special prosecutors are totally unconstitutional, that the Attorney General can't pick any of them. And she goes, yeah, but that guy can do it. But you can't do it against Trump. What? Why? And she has some tortured explanation about, well, that guy was already some sort of U.S. attorney, and so it makes sense in that scenario, but Jack Smith wasn't that, and so for him it's not allowed, but for the one going after Hunter, it is allowed. I mean, guys, let me say this as clearly as possible. She is a judicial supremacist and a judicial extremist. She has overstepped her boundaries by so much. We basically live by fiat of judicial authoritarians now. This is what we've been seeing with the Supreme Court. This is what she's doing here, just bending over backwards to protect the politician who appointed her. I mean, there should be a law that says she can't even oversee a case that he's involved in. But no. So, again, it'll be changed, but it'll be too little too late. And it's really getting to comical levels, just how much the right-wing judicial activists are overreaching, just how extreme they are, just how authoritarian they are, just how much they don't believe in rule of law. I've never seen anything like it before. And you know what? It's only going to continue. All right, guys. That's the show. You know, I love you all very much. Everybody do me a big favor. Please subscribe to the channel. That helps out massively. Costs you absolutely nothing. Thank you to everybody who supports the show on Patreon. You guys make it work. Whether it's $2 a month, $5 a month, whatever you give, that means the world. Same with everybody who donates on YouTube Super Chats. You guys are awesome. All right. I love everybody, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace. Hey, y'all. Do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.